Hey folks, Papa Boris here, playing some more Altered the Trading Card Game. It's a little bit silly, I think, to be playing games of a beta for a trading card game that might not even have a digital edition, but what can I say? I can't get enough of this game. Let's do one game with all the starting factions. Here we'll pick Ordis, which is arguably the simplest one. This one, just you get a 1/1/1 soldier every round. Now this faction, despite its hero power, is a little bit slow. You may need to expect falling behind with this faction and then catching up. Actually, this is a good example of that. So this is a permanent. It costs you 3 energy, and it just makes a 1/1/1 soldier token every round. But, you know, you kind of fall behind because you're spending your first turn doing that. You might very well lose both lanes. So we'll keep one of these. I don't think I think playing one on turn 1 and then another one on turn 2 is maybe a little bit greedy. Could be wrong about that. Here we have just a basic 1/1/1. As you know, I like 1/1/1s because they're a way to kind of spend a little bit of mana and wait to see what your opponent does before committing things. This is very efficient. It's a 3/3 for 2. You're missing one of the stats, but getting 3 stat for 2 is pretty good. And then I'm going to get rid of this. A 2/2/2 for 3 is really slow. You do get to get rid of a card from your opponent's reserve, which can be useful, but I'm not going to worry about that. I want to try not to fall too far behind since I'm going to be playing this on turn 1. So depending on my opponent's hand, this is actually my favorite faction, my opponent, you know, may or may not be able to win both lanes. If their plan was to just play a 3-drop, which is what they did, they're going to win one lane, they're going to block me from winning my lane, and they also drew a card, so that's a really good turn for them. They, you know, didn't win both lanes, but they are going to get some pretty serious card advantage. Alright, now we got to make our mana. So this is kind of a quintessential character. I don't know if quintessential is the correct word. So this is a very significant character for this faction. It's a 2/2/2 for 4 mana, which is terrible. However, you get a 1/1 soldier token in both lanes when it leaves the expedition zone. So if you can follow that up with something that we don't have, you can really generate a lot of power. I think I'm just going to get rid of this 2/2/2 for 2. It's cool to be able to get, you know, 2/2. Actually, So it's tricky because that would be the most efficient way to use my mana, is to play these two. This, I think, is falling a little bit far behind. Okay, I am going to get rid of my 1/1 just because of the short term. I want to use all of my mana to get as many stats as possible this turn, and I want to keep Joan of Arc around, hoping to be able to combo her. So my opponent used their hero power, making me go first. So there's not much I can do. My lanes are basically equivalent. What I'm going to do is go here, because my opponent has to have forest specifically to advance in this zone. It'll be a little bit more difficult for them perhaps to contest me. They might be able to, let's say, tie me on forest, but then I could perhaps win one of the other stats. Now this faction does have a 3/3/3 for 3, so they could just play that there, but they could have also played that here. So there was nothing I could have done to avoid it. My opponent chose to play Baba Yaga from the reserve, so it only costs 2, but it doesn't draw a card. That's fine. What I'm going to do here is just play in the other zone. This basically makes it impossible for my opponent to advance in both zones, but they may be able to advance in one and I advance in one, so they would preserve their lead. Now next turn, honestly, I might just end up playing these two characters again from my reserve. My opponent chose to send something back to the reserve. I guess it's this card. Yeah, okay, so that means that they actually win here with Baba Yaga, and they block me here again, same as the first round. It does mean that I win this zone, although I didn't need this card to do it. So my opponent is continuing to press their advantage here. There's still one advancement ahead, and they are also still cards ahead. You notice they have 3 and 1, and I have, before drawing cards, only 1 and 2. Now they have, you see, a total of 6 cards available. I have only 5. All right, there it is. This is the card that you combo with Joan of Arc. Characters you control get boosts. If you have a bunch of stuff on the board, you get a bunch of boosts. Main problem, of course, is if I play Joan now, my reserve is going to fill up. Yeah, I'm going to send this over for the mana. It's a shame that if I had the 1/1, I could have, you know, played that. Alrighty. Well, the nice thing is, although I am a turn behind, I do generate a free 1/1 in both lanes every single turn, which, you know, has got to count for something. The main question is, can I afford to play Joan of Arc and go for a charge? This puts me a card behind, as I would have to discard one of these from my reserve. Of course, if I wait to do that, you know, I could be in trouble. No, I don't want to fall any more behind on cards. So what I think I'm going to do here is just play the Scribe over here. Try to get past this desert zone. And then see what my opponent wants to do. They can block me here with a 3/3/3. So we would be tied in this lane. That would commit most of their mana. They chose to play another Baba Yaga over here. You know, I think that might be getting a little bit greedy. Just because they already have card advantage. I think they should be trying to convert that into, you know, getting ahead and winning. But hey, you know what? They're winning, so if they can get away with it, then why not? Okay, so they basically beat me on water here, which allows them to advance. I will advance because I'm beating them on forest. And I also advance here. So I can't hate this turn. My opponent has card advantage because they've played, what is it, 2 Baba Yagas? Yeah, this one was played twice, but one was from the reserve, so it didn't draw a card. They are falling a little bit behind. I'm guessing they will discard Baba Yaga because it doesn't draw a card. Yeah. Alright, so my opponent still has card advantage. Notice they have a total of 7 available cards. I have only 4. Sabotage is interesting because it does help with the card advantage, since I discard one of their cards. But what am I getting rid of? If you control a token, put the top card of your... Oh, this is also card advantage, but it doesn't cost as much. Okay, so I will get rid of the Ordis Spy. Okay, so this turn is going to be very easy for me. I play Joan of Arc, and I play this thing. And the next turn, we're going to play Charge and buff up all of our counters. We're going to have 4 counters on the board, and all of them are going to be 2/2s. And I'm still going to have 5 other mana to work with. So we'll be hopefully doing a little bit of catching up. But my first play here is very simple. There's no reason to give away that I have Joan of Arc, so we'll play the other thing. And does it really matter where I play it? Well, it has only 1 forest, so maybe not in the zone where I have to get forest. Let's go over here. The Ysmir deck has a lot of really strong water cards, like this one, so it's a little bit unfortunate. But, yeah, what do I get rid of? I think we're going to... Oh, I'm not getting rid of. Right, I picked the one that resupplies. Okay. Wait a minute. You won't be able to undo... What? I mean, yes. It's not even an option. Okay, I guess it's just warning me I can't undo. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Okay, what do we get? We got one of these. Great. I don't mind having that there. It does mean, unfortunately, I'm going to have a card advantage problem. So this thing actually wasn't really card advantage, but it's fine. The other thing that... Saboteur costs 3 mana, so I couldn't have played it in Joan, and I think not playing Joan this turn would have been nutty. Alright, so the question is, where do I play Joan? My opponent played one of their strong water cards, so I'm not currently moving in this region. And they are moving in their region, so I think it makes sense just to pile Joan in here. My opponent could still win here, but the issue is then with my free token, I get a free move in the other region. Of course, it's possible my opponent wins here and here with like a 2-drop and a 1-drop. That is possible. They could play this here, and if they have a 1-drop... Okay, they decided to play this, which is an interesting play. Why not play Lady of the Lake? You would then have also gotten to 7 water. You would have beaten me here. You would have stopped me from moving because 3 + 1 is 4. You would have tied my forest. I have to move on forest or water. Maybe my opponent missed the fact that I don't move on desert. Yeah, I think my opponent wasted a mana and a card doing this. They could have achieved the same effect of winning this zone and blocking me from moving with this card from their reserve. But as it is, they have no more mana. So I know that what's going to happen is they're going to move, and I am not. But I'm going to move over here because of my free token. So we're still tied. My opponent now has thrown away 2 cards. So they've gotten rid of their card advantage. They have 2 cards in hand before the draw. I have 1. Okay, I also got rid of some card advantage, unfortunately. And what I have to do here is decide what I'm going to do, because I could keep Joan and do it again. I could, like, with 7 mana, I could play Joan and then also charge. And get a lot of yeah, I think I'm going to do it. It's greedy. This is just strictly worse. It's greedy, but I'm going to go for it, because if I can get away with this, I think I'm going to win. All right, can I get a 1-drop? I actually did. So we're going to... I'm always tempted by these spies. But no, that doesn't really fit my game plan right now. Sometimes I think in TCGs, you got to just say, hey, this is good, but it's not what I'm trying to do. So what I want to do here is play Joan, play charge, and play this Ordis Trooper if needed. So I have a lot of mana to work with. Okay, now the weird thing is, I don't want to play this if I don't have to, but I also don't want to commit all my mana. It's by playing Joan first. That's the tricky thing here. Yeah, you know, I'm definitely playing these. I'm not really sure what value my opponent gets from that knowledge that I am playing them, so we're just going to play Joan again. Make my opponent wait to see if I have the charge or not. And maybe see what they want to do with their mana. I mean, I'm guessing they're probably just going to play Alice. Over here. Actually, they're not in a water zone. Interesting. Neither of their tokens is in water. So the 4 doesn't matter this round. It's just a 3/3 for 3, basically. They might not want to commit Alice because it is a 3-mana card. If they have anything cheaper they were planning to play, they might play that. And they decided to play Sakarabru. Okay, so this pushes back my token, but I think that this was a mistake. So first of all, it's card disadvantage, because they're going to put it back on the reserve. They already had cards there. They're going to have to throw something out. And also, I mean, it's not that difficult for me with 3 mana to just beat them here. Do I even play charge is the actual question now. Oh, I do. Okay. It's unfortunate, but I could tie them here, but I can't beat them. Actually, charge doesn't beat it either. Oh, this is really fascinating. So to beat them in this lane, I would need to play my Ordis Trooper and charge. I would need to just go whole hog here, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I'm just gonna take the slow approach. We're just gonna tie them here so nobody moves. Keep my card advantage. I keep my charge. Next round, I start the exact same way I started this round. Oh, actually, hold on. I could play this. Oh, I could play this and win this lane. Oh, no, that's obviously worth it. Okay. All right, let's not be a complete moron. Since I used my reserve cards this round, I'm not filling up my reserve and wasting card advantage. Obviously, it's worth it to play a card for 1 mana and get movement. So notice that even though my opponent pushed me back, I still ended up advancing in both lanes. I'm now in a position to possibly win if I can advance both lanes again, and my opponent still needs at least 2 rounds to win. So I suddenly feel really good about my position, whereas I previously didn't. Okay, so can we play everything here? What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm actually not gonna get mana. I'm going for it. We are gonna play everything, and we're just gonna hope that with this charge we win both lanes. That's the game plan. So my opponent, I'm guessing, is gonna do this to make me go. They're thinking about it. All right. This is a very strong card in the Ysmir faction, but I would argue... Oh. So they showed me that they have Dorothy, and then they decided to be like, oh, wait, no, I don't need to do that. Okay. We're just going to play this here. I don't know how much it matters. Which lane I put it in. Actually, I probably should have put it in the other lane because this Frog Prince doesn't have desert, so the desert here doesn't matter. So I would be putting it there. Okay, so my opponent's playing it crafty. They're saving the Dorothy to wait for my play. So what I'm going to do is play, annoyingly, this. This one doesn't have any water, so it made no sense to put over here where I have to use water. And now Dorothy's pretty useless. This faction's pretty good against... Well, I don't know if it's good against the Ysmir faction, but it's good against Dorothy because, I mean, you're getting rid of a token. I mean, it's not exactly exciting. Okay, so my opponent has lost the game. Now we're going to drop... Notice they have no mana, so we're guaranteed to win over here. And we just drop a Frog Prince here for 3. Now, my opponent is still beating me on desert and water, which is what I would need to advance. But luckily, we have charge. It is a fleeting card. It's a really, really strong spell. But that's what is going on here. Yep, so everything gets a +1/+1 counter, or a boost, a +1/+1/+1/+1, and then we just pass. So, you know, that was a pretty good example of this faction. Starts off slow, but then you generate all these tokens, and, you know, with all these tokens and a charge card, it can get very overwhelming for the opponent to make any progress. You can see that even though they got up to a hand size lead and a board advancement lead, they just weren't able to do anything in the last couple of rounds. Also, they played badly, which is not a knock on the opponent. I played terribly in my last videos. I'm not like criticizing them as a human being, but they didn't basically they generated card advantage in the beginning of the game by playing these Baba Yagas, these understated cards that give you long-term advantage through cards, but then they squandered their card advantage by filling up the reserve. I think that's going to be like the big learning curve for people in this game. That'll probably get a lot tighter over time as the game has been out longer, as people realizing, like, once you put cards in the reserve, you need to play them out of the reserve, unless you have a very good reason not to, because if you keep them in your reserve and play other cards from your hand, you just have to throw cards away. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.